Okay, once again, you've been involved in co-producing and doing the mix and so forth. You're a musician. You know the vocabulary for all this technology and so forth. Walk me through, if you would, like from when you get the idea for the song until the song is finished and mastered onto digital tape, whatever the final master is. What sort of process do you go through? How do you work?
This record was done a little bit differently because of the fact that we actually used what we cut as the demos for the record because of technology being able to do it. Everything was computerized as far as what we'd play something in and it would be there in the computers. There's stuff that we could change, in the final process when we went in and we did overdubs, live overdubs in the studio when we were, doing the final mixes. But basically, from the time we wrote the songs, when we were writing, we were actually making the record, which is kind of cool because, it's not like we had to go back and redo everything all over again. Once people decided they liked the song, it was like, well, there it is.
Right.
We just had to. It was a matter of mixing.
I saw in this videotape when you guys were laying down this mix that you would laying down a vocal, but it would be a specific like video buzz thing. I don't know what you call those like.
Yeah.
Is that your voice, and how do you manipulate it? Do you have fun doing that, making up stuff?
The one time I know specifically that we did it.
Did what? I mean, you have to explain that. What?
The one time that we did the little, it sounds like it's coming out of a radio, kind of an AM kind of sound. The studio where we were recording at that time, it was just still a demo, had an intercom system to the house next door. And so I went over into the house, and the house had 2 telephones. And it was great because we put the intercom system on as far as picking up my voice, and I was monitoring what was going on with the telephone receiver on my ear. So it was way backwards kind of way of doing something, but it sounded great coming through this because you can actually with EQ you can make your voice sound that way and you can do things, but it was way cooler to do an authentic like through a little speakerphone box. It was like over a wire, and so that's how we did it. And
actually use a created sound as opposed to creating it with technology.
Yeah, we actually there it was, this little box, and it was going to sound gnarly anyway, so they had a mic hooked up in the telephone, and it looked really funny. When somebody walked into the room we were doing it, they're like, "What are you doing?" I had this little thing, so.
What do you, very often these lines are appropriate for any given track. For example, in Living It Up, the content of the song, I want to get into that a little bit too. Whenever you do that electronically, sometimes maybe, I don't know, do you do that after the bulk of the song has been built and then you'll lay things in that are appropriate to that?
You mean the chorus, like Living It Up itself, that actual line?
No, but like lines in it, or like when you do the musical break and there's sort of like vocals in there where the guy's like, and there's several
the little samples, little samples of little pieces of dialogue.
When do you build those in? Is that part of the process?
Yeah, we put those in pretty much in the demo stages, so they were there. It was part of the music. It's like, here we have this little spot. I have a whole collection of tapes of little sounds and pieces of dialogue and funny sayings, and the guy that samples the stuff for me hates me for it because he has to do it for hours. I'm like, now this piece, just like this long, start here, end here. He's like, punching in the computer and stuff because that's usually their job, not mine. And so we do all that then.
Okay, I talked to you briefly about this last night, and I didn't really give you a chance to respond, but I said you utilize various musical traditions in your music, and I can only go from the 2 songs I heard, but I think that I'm hoping they're indicative of the rest of your music. But you use these various musical traditions, and by doing so you're able to move away from common pop, rap, urban formulas, both in ideology and tradition.
Definitely. I want
you to talk about that and what your direction is and how do you define that style that you're striving for.
First of all, I would not consider this. Now that it's done and here's the record. I would not consider it a rap album. Being tagged as that is really it's kind of lame because there's rap and hip hop influences in it, and I like that. That's part of what I'm all about. But I'm a musician first and foremost, and so I'm way more musical than that. Rap, it's getting now where, it's broadening in all areas anyways, but I feel like I'm taking it to just a whole new category because I'm like into pop music, always have been, whatever's popular, whatever's happening. I play all these different instruments, so I'm like, I'm making a song that fits, somewhat having rap styles. Like typically, rap in the verse, singing in the chorus. The chorus is always real melodic, real musical, and instruments throughout instead of just drums. So that's kind of, each song is basically built around that kind of format, and then style-wise, they're all different. There's a big broad range of styles throughout the record. It's just all stuff I like. I'm not going to be holding myself to one little style when I can expand.
Well, what ultimately happens, I see it becomes a style, becomes your style.
Yeah, exactly. I think it all makes sense. Even though there's a lot of different styles, there's like kind of a '70s funk vibe, and then there's the old R&B kind of style, like right to left, where it was just piano, drums, and bass, and that's all it is. Where when we have lots of songs that have tons of samples and all kinds of stuff going on, somehow in the end it all makes sense to me, anyway. So hopefully it'll make sense to everybody else.
Definitely. Okay, this is something. Yeah, you have. I wrote this down, but I don't want to read it out. I mean, you have something in your music that is not usual to the content of most current trends in music, or recent current trends, and by that I mean even as far as 10 years ago, where you're making positivity pretty cool. You're focusing on something that's beneficial to both the person, to the listener, to yourself. You're asking or just saying, hey, look, being an individual is cool. You don't have to go with the flow. You don't have to get into drugs. In fact, right now, let's live it up.
Right.
In fact, and the last song has a lot to do about that. And I want you to explain to me where that comes from in you, and how you see your music focusing on. This is a certain kind of media. Music is media, and it influences a great many people, as it has influenced you. This message seems to be very important to you.
Yeah. I've always been one that whenever the occasion would arise to be different, I'm there. I'm the first one to jump on any kind of anything that I see. Oh, I can go this way with it. Even though everybody's wearing this, I want to wear this, or whatever. Hairstyles and everything, all the way through high school, whatever. I was a unique person. So I'm just trying, in this record or whatever, in my lyrics and everything, I'm just trying to be me, and that's who I am. I'm saying that's how I am. Why don't you try it? And the positive thing too. That's just me. I'm making it. I really want to be a kind of person that is not trying to jump on other people's, whatever's trendy, whatever's big, whatever's hip, do that because it'll make a lot of money or whatever. I'm just like, look, this is what I'm about, whether it's positive or whatever, and that's what I'm going to be true to that.
Great.
So it should show in the lyrics.
That's good. It's not like like I can't see you 5 years from now from saying, well, I just got out of the methadone clinic, I've cleaned it up, and
No, afraid not.
No, good.
Probably
Good.
not.
Let's get back to something else. Let's talk about living it up right now. How did that come about, and what were you trying to get across in living it up, outside of the things that we just talked about? I mean, we can touch upon them.
Well, originally it was, like I came up with the concept of living it up, and that was like, well, from right there you could go with the obvious and just make it a big party song. And that's kind of the direction I still took it, and it's really what it's saying. But I decided, well, why don't in the verses I say, kind of focusing on all the negative things that are happening, and it's like how we have to deal with that every day, and it's like, wouldn't it be kind of weird to have all that negative stuff in the verses and then say live it up in the chorus? So that's kind of how that was, and at first the producer was just like, huh? Because, everybody expected living it up. It's just going to be one big party song. It's not going to have anything negative in the words anywhere. And I was just like, oh, let's just say, the whole, at this point, the way the song stands, the whole concept is, look, there's a lot of bad stuff happening in the world. We have to deal with it every day. There's a lot of things that, that are negative, and it's no reason to ruin your day. It's there's time to have fun, and that's what entertainment, to me, that's what entertainment is all about, is forgetting all that stuff for just the time being. Recognizing that it's there, but at the same time, having a good time anyways. While you can, just like in the lyrics.
Give
you
me
might be around for a while.
Yeah, good.